additional title to your
name. That's PhD, DD. If someone gives me a PhD, it won't do me any good. I will use it, I'll roll it up and light the end of it with a match and start a fire with it when I need a fire. That's about how much they're good. People say, well, if you had a doctor's degree, you could reach people. They're not going to listen to death to self, daily cross, self-denial. Christmas is pagan, Easter is pagan, predestination is true. God doesn't love everybody. You think a DD will help them listen to that? No. They're not going to listen to you when you say that. And I'm not changing that message. He now perceives that it is wrong for him to receive it, even complimentary. I'd feel the same way. Various friends, as a mark of respect, have addressed us as Dr. Pink. We now ask them to please cease from doing so. Well, good. I guess that's A.W. Pink he's talking about. Let not be understood that we hereby condemn other men for what they allow. I'll tell people don't do that. Jesus said they love the greetings in the marketplace to be called rabbi, rabbi, master, master. One is our rabbi, one is our master in heaven. The principal passages which have helped us, we now mention, praying that it will please God to also bless them also. First, the false comforters of Job, Elihu, said, let me not, I pray you, accept any man's person, neither give me flattering titles unto men. Job 32:21. I've given that to y'all 1,000 times. Flattering titles means an additional title to your name because that makes you look important. Be not ye called rabbi or teacher. I just gave you that, which is what doctor signifies. Third, John 5:44 proves these who receive honor one of another and bids us seek the honor that comes from God only. Fourth, none of the servants of the New Testament ever employed a title. Paul, an apostle. People say, what can we call you? I say, well, it's a good thing. You can call me Jim. That's my name. That's a real good thing to call me. And Reverend is the name of the Lord. Reverend is the Hebrew word Yahweh. It means to fear and quake. Yeah. Don't call any man reverend. That God said reverend is my name. It's mentioned one time in Psalms 111. And God said, that's me. Don't call me a reverend. Great day in the morning. My father used to get letters from people, and he would go into a rage if you didn't put reverend on the front of his name. Get real mad and act like a reverend. But never the Apostle Paul. Fifth, the Son of God made himself of no reputation. That's good, isn't it? Is it then fitting that his servants should now follow an opposite course? Christ bids us learn of him who was meek and lowly. Seventh, one of the marks of apostasy is having men's persons in admiration because of advantage. That's good, isn't it? And we are bidden to go forth unto Christ outside the camp, bearing his reproach. We have to be infamous, not famous. The word reproach, blessed are ye when men shall reproach you. Aniadzo means infamous. You're not going to be infamous, so they call you doctor. I can't stand those titles. I have known many, many doctors of theology when I traveled throughout America preaching in churches, and every one of them I ever met didn't have any sense except one. And he didn't care. You can call him Roy or whatever you want to call him. And don't like people like that. We're not fancy. We ain't never going to... You know what fancy means? Imagination. That's what it means. To imagine something. They fancy themselves to be this. Whenever I say the fanciest church up the street, that means the imagination's church up the street. They've imagined themselves a doctrine, haven't they? I am not interested in titles. I'm interested in the Lord saying, well done, good and faithful servant. That's what I'm interested in. All right, I've already preached, haven't I? So we can dismiss now. All right. And I got all these phone calls from all over the country. I'll just read these and stop, just very quick. Bobby Davis from Shreveport, Louisiana, loves this message. Pauline Cunningham, Hillsboro, Ohio. Julie Ortega, Fort Hood, Texas. That's right. Out there watching on the Waco station. Leo Brigman. Leo's our representative up in Chicago. Bonita Johnson, Smyrna, Tennessee. Henrietta Gowans, Dallas, Texas, watches us on TV there. Bonnie Whitman, Belton, Texas, right outside of Fort Worth, watches us on TV there. Carl Krug, Silver Springs, Florida. I believe he saw us on the internet or got some tapes from other people. Angela Roberts called to say hi. She's the lady with multiple sclerosis in Austin that we send cards to every month. Roland Lopez, Joshua, Texas. Shirley Cheatham, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Charity Wilson, Youngstown, Arizona. Brenda John, Greensboro, North Carolina. Scott Warwick called us the other day, our missionary to Ecuador. Greg Turner, Charlotte, North Carolina. Larry Turner up in, I think he's in St. Paul. Freddie Hickson, Brooklyn, New York, watches on TV in Brooklyn. Ray Boyd down in Austin, Texas. Johnny Kirkman, Kannapolis, North Carolina, watches on TV there. Otis Tipton, Onascala, Texas. Bill Baker, Sand Springs, Oklahoma. And that'll be, and then I got Graylin Carter, St. Paul, Minnesota, loves the truth. Said he loves this. All right, that's enough reading. Let me see here. Wait a minute. Yeah, that'd be enough. I'll read some of these others later. All right. I like to always remind you of our TV in Nashville. We're on every Monday night and Saturday night at 10 o'clock. And we're on Wednesday morning and Friday morning at midnight. This is all on channel 176 on Comcast. And then we're on Thursday night at 11 o'clock on channel 49. We're on Tuesday evening in Hendersonville on channel 3. Thursday night on channel 3 in Hendersonville, 7 o'clock. Radio every Saturday morning, WNQM. That's 1300 on the AM dial. And just be watching and tuning in and tell people to watch. I hope y'all understand, for each one of these calls and letters, I keep saying this, they tell us the average is 500 to 1,000 people have to be watching. Just what we looked at, I called out or named about 50 people. That's a lot of people. Maybe 35 or so. There's hundreds of thousands of people watching Grace and Truth every week all over the world. And those of you that are watching, we love you. Keep watching and tell others about us. And we hope the ministry will grow because we teach doctrines nobody else teaches. Christmas is pagan, Easter's pagan. And I don't, that's not all I've got to say about it. Somebody said, well, you said Easter's pagan. Well, I've got about 500 messages on it. And it's the Bell and Grove worship of the Old Testament, the same thing that Constantine brought in the church and renamed Christ Mass. Christmas is Roman Catholicism. Easter is Roman Catholicism. It's fire worship out of the ancient world. Has nothing to do with Jesus. Told a lady last night, I said, did you know? She called and she said, I love this message. I said, did you know that? She's 57 years old. I said, did you know that Christmas is pagan? She said, I never heard that in my life. And I went through the whole story. I told her it was against the law to celebrate Christmas in early America, that the Puritans said, we'll move to this new land and purify this land of all papal Roman Catholic influences. And she was astounded. And I told her that it didn't come an American holiday till 1856, and America's only been doing Christmas for about 120 years. That's it. It's amazing. You never see George Washington around a Christmas tree. No pictures of him. They didn't do it then in America. It was a drunken festival. It's an old ancient drunken festival called the Feast of Saturn in the ancient world. Great day in the morning. Can't you people figure that out? Christ Mass. The Mass is eating human flesh in the Roman Catholic Church. They hold the Eucharist up and say, Hac est corpus eum corpus. Did you notice corpse in there? Hac est corpus eum filii. It turns into the literal body of Christ, and you have to eat that to go to heaven, but you've got to be a Roman Catholic to eat it. That's Catholic doctrine. Isn't it, Gerald? That's exactly.
Catholics been celebrating forever.
Yeah, Catholics been doing it forever. That's right.
A lot of American Catholics, you know.
Yeah. But Gerald was an old heathen Catholic from New Orleans, wasn't he? Old Cajun heathen Catholic. But God sure can change somebody, can't he? Pulled Gerald out of the pit. Thank God for that. Every time I preach on Christmas or Easter, Gerald said, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's what we did. That's what they do. It's tradition, all it is. It's the drunkenness, more booze sold that time of the year, more suicides that time of the year, more people die of heart attacks on December the 25th than any other time of the year because of the stress. And that's something on an average overall. All right, well, that's enough. Let's get on to something else. Don't forget we do not suck the life out of the poor and needy. We take care of the poor and needy believers. We've got bunches of people. We've got Sheila Wells down in Louisiana. We've got Angela Roberts down in Texas, Austin. We got Patricia Donaldson. They all make $480, $670 a month, something along that line, with food stamps, and they love the truth. They want to move there, so we send them food cards, and we have a food pantry here at the house, at the ministry kitchen. It's for needy people or people that are between jobs. If you are really in a struggle, you need some food here at Grace and Truth, and you're a believer. This is not for everybody out on the streets. It's for the believers. We're to communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. And if you believe good things and teach the truth of God, this is for you. It's not for everybody. And if you're long distance from us, you're somewhere up in New York, and you're struggling and you love the truth with all your heart and soul, we're not out here to find people to give food to. I can go down here on Broadway, and give food away and give cards. This is for the needy believers of predestination, election, the sovereignty of God. Christmas is pagan, Easter is pagan. God doesn't love everybody. If you believe that and you're having a hard time living, the food and the cards are for you. But you've got to prove that to us first. You can't call up and say, I believe those things, send me some money. I got people doing that. I'm a hard guy to get by. And this is for people who are in need. So give to them liberally. If you want to give food cards, you can pick up $25, $50 cards at Kroger. You can pick up Visas. You can pick up MasterCards. And you can pick up whatever kind of cards. And we mail these out to our poor and our downtrodden people. People that can't make it, have a hard time. There are a lot of people in this recession that are having an extremely difficult time. And don't forget our missionaries down in Ecuador. They're down in Ecuador. Scott and Steve are down there preaching to natives and the big 30-foot boa constrictors. They're preaching predestination, the sovereignty of God, and Christmas is pagan, and Easter's pagan, and death to self and daily cross and self-denial. That's what they're preaching. This is their church over here. It's our little frame there, right by the door. That is their congregation. I don't support missionaries that don't preach the truth. Don't support free will missionaries. That's not true. We're born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. It's God's will that births us, not ours. We don't believe in walking down the aisle and invitation hymns and begging anybody to do anything. I've had my fill of that. That's not Bible. Death to self, daily cross, new birth, repentance, that's what Jesus said. You want to give to the missionaries, be sure at the bottom, put on the bottom of your check, mission fund. And if it comes in by mail, I pick it up at the post office. I go right directly to the bank. I'll put it directly into I'll get a money order. I send it directly to Steve and Scott's father, who heads up their offices in Massachusetts. He heads up and takes care of their funding, and we send everything to them that comes in and more. We're going to support these guys. They're building a school, and they're going to have to teach the kids to read Spanish before they can teach them the Bible, because they've got to learn to read, or before they can read their Bibles anyway. So don't forget them. We're glad to have Brock Strungy and his girlfriend Hazel back here Brock's been watching us. He lives in Smyrna. She lives in White House. And this is Brock's son, Noah. Noah, okay. And he built an ark, didn't he? Yeah, he sure did. Old brother Noah built an ark before the rain started coming down. It's an old gospel song. All right. We're glad to have y'all here. He's been watching us on TV and been wanting to come see us. And any other visitors? Nobody else is visiting? Are you visiting? Huh? Same old sheep. Okay. Well, there's so many in the flock, isn't there? All right. Well, we're glad to see everybody here, and pray for the ministry. Is anybody I'm missing, Mary? You think of? Anybody sick? Huh? Nobody sick? Is Jim not feeling good?
Yes.
Oh, he got a cold. Okay.
Says he doesn't have a cold,
Says he doesn't have a cold, but
but
he has a cold. Well, whatever the wife says is the way it's going to be. You've got a cold whether you like it or not. That's funny. Did he reluctantly admit to it? Who is that voice coming up there from the left? Some strange guy. All right. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer and pray for me. I need your prayers. Amen. We did get a letter. I forgot to read it. I'll read it tonight probably. But we got a letter from Scott Warry, our missionary in Ecuador, and he said I told him I wanted him to tell us about all the incidents that went on. He said he was walking across the bridge to gather the kids that they gather up to come to church. And he said, it's very strange if you see somebody walk over in your path, those natives, because they threaten their lives. And he said, as he's walking over the bridge, this native walked over, and he said, I started getting a little scared. And he said, I was walking my beagle over there to pick up the other kids. And he said he had a basset hound and 2 mastiffs. I don't know how in the world a mastiff can live in that kind of heat. But he said the guy walked up to him and said, I've got a tiger that I've caught out in the jungle, and I want to know if you'd like to buy it for $100. He said, why would I want to buy something that would eat up my dogs and me when it grows up? So he said, no, I think I'll pass on the tiger, you know. But he found a cub out there that was an orphan or something. So, but he's going to write to me and tell me these little incidents that happens. Are we ready to go, guys? I was wondering what was irritating me. That fan. Whew. Have you ever had a TV and a radio going on and you're in the room and you wonder why you're nervous, what's wrong? You go, what is it? Why do I feel this pressure? And you go, oh, turn those things off. It's like, you know. I hope y'all are encouraged. We're reaching a lot of folks out there, lots of people. The Lord is really giving us a lot of the elect are out there. We don't try to get people saved. God's got His elect family. All we have to do is preach the truth to them, and they say, I believe that. That's it. That's the way salvation comes. God puts the belief in a man's heart, faith or belief, which is believe is the verb, faith is the noun. I always have to say that.